Hello, my name is Rui and I want to present you a TeamSpeak 3 client skin that I made. Basically it's a very dark skin, and the main theme was for Star Trek Online. Yes, and here you see the overview of it. This skin works only with version 3.0.14 proper, and maybe before, and versions after that are not working proper anymore, and I'm gonna show and explain that later. So yeah, let's start over. So what I did is I altered mainly the everything in this, what you can change. But the main thing what I wanted to achieve is have a better view when I'm sitting in my couch and playing games and switching over to talk with my people. To see from a distance on my FullHD 32-inch screen what I'm doing in TeamSpeak. So that was the main cause why I did all this, and I changed the sizes of the text. That was not so hard, but what was the hardest part was this over here, where you see the channels, where you can switch channels.
Channel switched.
And I changed the sizes of the icons. For instance, this is the icon for the server, and the server icon is 128 square pixels in size, and for each channel or user or whatever, the icon sizes are 64 square pixels, except if I mute.
Sound muted.
For instance,
sound
the icon is
sound muted.
Changing for the user, and gets a little bit smaller, and I want it that way to indicate from a longer distance or something is different now, not only by changing the icon, also to see
sound resume. Sound muted.
There's a move, there's a transition. So
microphone muted. Sound resumed. Microphone activated. Microphone muted. Microphone activated.
Sorry for the noises, but yeah, now I could demonstrate what happens. You see on the right hand side over here, when I scroll and you see the small icons over here, I can't alter that. I couldn't change them. I can't make it bigger, because that's the thing what the developers intended to do. They don't want to change that. It's okay, it's their decision, and I couldn't alter that. I couldn't change the sizes. So in later versions, the sizes for these icons are changed and fixed to 16 square pixels. 16, and now it's 64. So basically, when you're sitting and on your couch and playing games, switching over, the text, everything is so small that you barely can see what's happening from a distance. Yes, and yeah, that's a point. I don't know. Many people don't use it because you go in your chat room, changing once, and then you're doing your stuff. You don't have to bother. You're occupied with speaking. Yes, okay, yeah, you see when I speak, or I'm not speaking, the user icon is changing, so basically it's changing the icon to a glowing one to indicate someone is talking. The same happens when another user is speaking, so you can see, he's speaking. Yes, this bar over here, I can switch it, transfer it to another place who never seen it. So you can, this is a grabber on the side, and you can reposition it. For people who are interested in the styling, how to do that, you have to consider whenever you're changing the vertical or horizontal position to also take in consideration maybe you have to alter the styling. So sometimes you don't have to do it at all, but for instance, over here what you're seeing, this is the server tab. So I hacked around and I found a way to reposition with the styling the server tabs to the left side and vertically, because I only use one server at a time. Usually I don't switch between servers. I'm always using this one, speaking to my people. And so it wasn't necessary to have a full bar. So for instance, I would lose this space to display over here. When you can see, maybe you can imagine, I will losing space to display the server tab, and here would be empty. And on the left hand side, you will see only one tab, and the rest is empty. So it's useless to use to put it there. I go further to display something. So when I to show something, when I resize it and the size is smaller, so I can start scrolling. So even if you have more servers, you can use this small buttons over here to scroll in the tabs. And here on top is an indicator that you are out of the display, and when you yeah, that's just a small gimmick, but it's built in the style and the control. Yeah, so I altered it this way. It's not the best solution, but it works. What's also, you see the icons over here, the sizes are bigger. Also, many people never saw that, but you can press Control F to open up the search. So depending, so for instance, on my focus, so that's the term in computer geeks, so in Windows anyway. So depending where I clicked, so there is the focus now, and I'm pressing Control F, so I can search the tree view. So search tree means I'm searching all the channels, so I can search a person or something. So let's type H, and you see that's an activated buttons. Yeah, and then close that. And if I'm clicking here in the chat room, press Control F, I can search in chats for something. So for instance, I have a date or something, and it's in a long list of the chat where I talked, and I want to find that item. So another small hint, in the chat room, you hold down Control and scroll with your mouse to resize the text. So the default text is really tiny. You can set up the size in the options, but I wouldn't recommend that, because it's much easier to do that on the fly and to make it fit your needs. Yes, so yeah. I think you saw that already, so I have a slightly a hover effect for the grabbers here. Yeah, so I can do stuff like this, make this disappear, and have a really good view of the server tree. Yeah, if I want to see server informations or something like that. So for instance, I'm changing to room to the user. So that's me when I'm in bad mood. Yes, you see when the screen is too small to display, so the scroller is appearing. So you see also a small arrows to indicate you can press there. I click repeatedly, maybe you hear it. Yes, I want to show you something. So when I hover over, so I also change the pop-ups for context menus. So like this. So not a big change, but yeah. The sizes in this bar, or on the toolbar, is 48 square pixels. So I changed it also. And in the newer versions is also the sizes change. I think it's limited to 24 square pixels. Yes. So that's basically the main screen. There's not much more. I think I displayed that. I showed that. Yeah, let's go to the menus. So first. It's dark, so it's more in the background, and when I hover over it, so when you see it's white, so it's I can see it from a distance. I couldn't change the sizes of the icons in the menu. It's absolutely not possible for me to access that. Maybe it's possible at all, but I couldn't change it. So basically it's not a good design decision that I made. But afterwards I realized it would be too much work to find a way to hack that also. So I leave that in place, and I don't have to see the icons properly. So it's a little bit of an indication. So there is something. But so you see it's full HD screen, and I'm recording in full HD. So basically it's the screen that I see every day. And you see the overwolf icon, how tiny it is. So imagine you're sitting 2 meters or a couple of meters away, and you can't see anything. It's really, really tiny. And but usually I don't use the menu often, so it's here and there. So I made a decision not to overwhelming changes. So the texture and the background wasn't necessary, but I thought I'm gonna leave it in. What you see when I on an item, you see the glowing is changing or something like that, and mainly I use transparency and gradients a lot, so overwhelming, and the whole styling are using transparency and gradients together. And I'm playing around with values where are the positions from the transparency to the next color. So I'm going to show that later when I go into details for the styling. So I'm going to show you the styling source code. Yes, so let's see. I'm going to open up the server list, so let's go into a couple of dialogues or new windows that I changed. So you see a couple of things I couldn't change, or it's built into the main Qt styling. So you see this edgy part over here, that's built in. And I think it's based on the styling fusion. Yes, so for instance, I would open something like that to indicate that you're somewhere. And you see the gradients, so it's a little bit off, but usually the pop-ups are not so long like over here. So yes, so like this. So the gradients in this left top corner is not disturbing so much. Yeah, if you see over here, it's like the checkboxes. So when it's white, it's on. When it's not white, it's off. And to indicate you're hovering over it, so it's slightly the border is changing. Yes, not fancy stuff. I like it that way. It looks like plain more like, yes, not overwhelming. For instance, if you're on top, you don't have indicators to separate that, but yes. Yeah. Let's find another. For instance, I go to identities. So you see a different approach. To have a better overview, I'm gonna make like a black background. Oh yeah, let me skip that first. You see when I'm changing the size, you see the gradient is following. Maybe if you follow the mouse on the right hand corner where the Star Trek logo is. Oh, I hope I'm gonna grab the right one. Nope, I didn't. You see here's following, so it's based, the gradient is recalculated every time you move around. So yeah, that was a little bit surprising because I never used that before and kind of styling, but yeah, it's a nice feature. So that is what I'm using. Yeah, for instance, I changed also the sizes of the icons over here. Made it a little bit of colorish to have better indication from the distance. So for instance, you're typing something in. A button, when I hover a button, these are special buttons. So you see, it's like dialog buttons. The arrow and the cross are built in. I don't have to change them or something, they are built in. Yeah, I'm going to cancel this. So for instance, I also changed the styling over here. So I reuse these buttons. I also changed the setup wizard, but here is a little bit broken. I press my combination to reload the styling, so it should work properly, but I won't go that way. Yeah, and I think the main part where it was really a lot of work was this dialog. So this is the original size what came up, so you can't really change it. So I wouldn't recommend to use this style at all if you have not at least full HD resolution, because you see the options wouldn't fit in your screen. Yeah, I also changed the icons over here, so you see for each except of design and application. I couldn't find a better icon to change it. And I don't want to change the application logo. I think it's not about the copyright, but I think it's worth to leave it in place like it's intended from the developers. Yes, basically everything is in black and white. What I couldn't change was a really disappointing to change the color of the links. I couldn't change the blue color over here. It's not possible for me to do that. I tried it really hard, but I couldn't achieve that. Yes, over here are not check buttons. Over here these are check buttons, check boxes, sorry. And this is a radio button, so it's like an option. Only this or that will be active. So you see it's a little bit the same, but the shape is different. And these are not images, these are also gradients. So basically it's not really an image that is doing this stuff. Yeah. Let's see here, Identity Manager we saw that before. Playback. Not a fancy thing. so it's readable. It could be better on the colors, but yeah, I can live with that. Also change the icons over here. What I couldn't change is the also people who interested in styling. It's absolutely not really possible to change the size of this control. So it's possible to do it in one way, but everything else will be broken. So don't go that way and try to find a way to make it bigger. I tried it. It's somehow you can access the styling part, but everything else will be broken. So it's not a good decision. Yeah, for instance, I changed the progress bar and made it really big. So I don't want to make a test. Last time I did that and made a screen recording, the application crashed. So I don't want to go that way. But the indicator is nice, so it could work. Yeah, over here for changing values. For instance, it's not appearing here. Just a second. Let me find. Yeah, over here. So you see, I made just triangles, and these triangles are not also gradients. So basically it's a square part. I get rid of any images inside and made just triangles out of the background gradients. So and depending where I am, it's highlighting it a little bit. And I can alter the sizes, also scroll buttons working on Windows, and it's I can read that. That's okay. Oh yeah, while I'm here, so what I told about the size of the change the font. So you can change the font. You can also put the size in, but I wouldn't recommend to go that way, because when you're doing that and you change that, it's possible that you use the ability to use the controls and scroll wheel mouse to use the scrolling of the chat text sizes. Yeah, now we are on the whisper part. So again, whisper list. So for instance, another window. It's more like in dialogue. Hotkeys. Again, I try to make an indication, or I use the built-in feature to say, okay, use every second row and make a different color. I think it's alteration. Change these icons, but it's not a big issue. Messages, these are at the moment empty. Notifications, yes. This was a slightly hard part because to find each item. So, for instance, you see again, I reused the open and close branches. So I reused the branches again, and so I can go further deep inside and take a look. I don't know. Yeah, look here. So maybe you get an idea what's happened on the main window when I doing this. The further it goes deeper, the further it goes to the right. I think I showed everything except of a couple of windows. So let's see. So contacts. I don't have collected URLs at the moment. File transfers. I also changed the file transfer window, and I think I have to open it over here, and the file browser. So I also changed the file browser icon sizes. Also, what I really missed is to have a better indication that you can press over here and change the location or jump to the location of your folder. So yeah, that was a much better way to indicate that, because it's just a text and many people just don't recognize it. I just stumbled upon it and I thought, oh, that's a nice feature, it's built in, but it's not really recognizable that you can press on it. It would be much nicer, so I changed that. Yeah, I also changed the border around when you have details and list views a little bit different, and yeah, I think I showed the most of the part. So let's see, that's the server log. The client log window. Do I have a ban list? No, no one is banned. Everyone is nice. Now let's see if I can open up a server-related window. So you see here and there the icons appearing again. So you see this is a tab control here and there. So yes, I think I showed a lot. Let's see what I can show more. No. Yes, now we go over to the part where I show a couple of source code parts. So for instance, maybe the red highlighting for the styling is not really good. Let me see if I can change that. Is that better? Yeah, I think that's better to read. So basically, what I always do for people who like styling and doing the styling, I start with an asterisk. Because to reset all the styling, so it's a good starting point to put at least the default values and start over from scratch. Because it's cascading style sheet alike, or it is cascading style sheet. So what I did, I put the font families in. So I'm starting with Star Trek Generation 1, so I renamed it and reusing this. Default values for my colors and padding, margin, everything is reset to 0. Yeah, and after that, I'm starting with the dialogues. So the Q dialog is something like this. And from there, I go further. So basically, I have a lot of parts that I have to consider what I have to do and not. So sometimes I'm reusing the same collectors. So you see I have here Q dialog and here also. So in one part I just put in the colors and the outline, and I alter something else here. So sometimes it's not necessary, it's like redundant. Yeah. So for instance, the background original clipping is a good point to say how the background gonna behave. Sometimes you don't recognize it. It could work much better, especially when you're working with border images. Yeah, so for instance, setup wizard, I needed to use this kind of selector, dot setup wizard, space, and then asterisk, to get access to all sub selectors inside the setup wizard. So that's why he's not working properly. So when I reload him, it works. So for instance, the font size is too small, but the setup wizard window is fixed in size in Windows. So I had to stuck with a small font size for the buttons. Yeah, so you see, go to the labels. Basically, I don't go into details. So basically, I'm setting most of the things first in the default, or I want to have it under control and put it in place. Yeah, so for instance, contents widget, I forgot what it is exactly, but this is like the magic of the icon sizes. And this magic disappeared with the newer versions of TeamSpeak 3 clients. So with this thing, it's a magical thing that's only in Qt built in. And with this Q property dash icon size, and be aware that this is a capital S, you can set the icon size in Qt items from a style. Yeah, so here you have an example of an linear gradient. So with the spread, I say how we're going to behave, and for me to better read the stuff, I just split it up. So basically, that's the whole command over here. That's the whole property setting over here. But just to have it to read, I put in a line feed in. So so for x1 and y1, that's the start position. So 0.0 means, I think, left top, and 0 and 1 means top right bottom. And you can alter that. So basically it's from 0 to 1. And you can go also be beyond these values, so you're going out of the scope. Yeah, stop. 0 means it begins from these points. That's going to be the first color in the gradient. 0.5 is in the middle, and stop 1 is the end, and it's going to spread as a pad over this whole thing. Yeah, so people who are using CSS3 cascading style sheets will recognize what's meant with that, but I think the syntax is here different, but it uses similar behavior. Yeah, so again, did it with the gradient stops, so I overwhelmingly using that. And then I made my life easier. I used comments to go on the tooltip items, for instance, to find them better. The labels put into place. So sometimes I needed special selectors to alter the size. Q group box. So sometimes I needed to put in selector for the Q group box, not in the whole part, only in Q dialogues. So that's kind of a trick. And I forgot why I need to use the hashes. in front, the hashtags in front of the selectors, but sometimes it works, sometimes not. So, and I wasn't certain how to use that. I'm not really a Qt guy, so that was a workaround. Sometimes works, sometimes not. Subcontrol origin. I don't know if it's a Qt thing, but I think it is. I go further and further. So these are the checkboxes and radio boxes, what I told about. You see, everything is made out of gradient stops. And is it right? Radios? Where are the radio buttons? Oh, this is a nice one. Look what I have to do to group them all together to have the same selectors. So sometimes it took me a long time to find these selectors by try and error. I can't find the radio buttons now. Over here. So I also used on the radio buttons. These are the circular ones. I'm going to show that quick. Was it here? No, I'm missing them. Over here. You see, these ones. These are the radio buttons. And they're made of linear gradients. And by the spread, it happens that they appear with a slightly edgy, or how can I say, dotted border. Yeah, sorry, my English is not my native, so let's go further. So, how many buttons I found, and sometimes I needed to use kind of these without hashtags. Sometimes I needed to put a dot in front of it. I can't remember why I did that, but only when I used these kind of tricks I could find the proper selector to put the push button into the group. And again, the magic Q property icon size, I use 36 square pixels. Yeah, I think that's basically all the stuff is repeating, so it's not a big thing what happened. People who are interested, the pop-up mode 1, and that means it's for this here. So with that you can style the behavior, how the pop-up works. That's how it's
sound resumed.
So let's find the super duper magic. I think these are the list views. It's not a fancy thing what's happened here. Progress bars, chunk is the part. I think that's not in the indication of a progress. I'm quite not sure. I forgot that. Q spin box. I forgot what's that, but I think it's a Qt part, so it's not like an HTML or another controls or CSS part. parts. Double spin box. Yeah, this indicates not here in the front. It's like an inverted value for enabled. So it means not enabled. You see, I had to do a lot of stuff. And I think for the last part, if I don't miss anything, we go to the tree views, because this was the most difficult to achieve. And yeah, so for instance, again, Q property icon size is deprecated in later stylings, so try to avoid it in your styling. Root is decorated and alternating row colors. So that's what I showed before when you saw every second line has a blue background in the list. Sorry that I'm not talking, explaining stuff, but I'm searching for the part where for instance, these are the branches that I'm using. It's just a repeat or where they occur. And yeah, that's the image. Controls images, and I go over to the icons to show that a little bit. So that's the standard channel is green subscribed, and it's 64 square pixels, but the name is 16 x16, and they've fixed the size, so basically you can't alter the size anymore in the styling, but and that version I could achieve that. So yes, and let me find I put that styles. Yes, that's the branches I talked about. Just a square part. That's it. So, and you're gonna assemble that together over and over again. Q-line edit is a text box equivalent for Qt. So for people who never use that. And Q expanding line edit. I forgot where I needed to use it, but I think in the search box, in the search. I forgot that. Yeah, over here these are the splitter parts. So when we're altering, so these, you can find that. So splitter, search for that. Scroll bars, yeah, I don't have to explain that. Use a couple of images. So you have to take care for the grips how to use them for horizontal and vertical. Yeah, the sliders, yeah, it's not a big deal with the sliders. Text edits means it's also the text box. These are the proper text boxes, so text edits, where you type in search texts and all the stuff. Yes, and now we come to the super duper magic of the tab bars. So when you download these, the skin, I think you're gonna find it. You can use it because what I did is use again the magic word Q property, tab position west, and with that I altered the position. So when I type in north, save it. Yeah, I can't change it. But yeah, then the position of this here will be over here. So it's going to be horizontally. So if I could put south, I think it's going to be here in between or down here, I'm quite not sure. And west and east will be over here. So that's the magic word. So it was a surprise when I found that, because I didn't knew that it's possible at all. So and again, tab shape rounded. I don't know if it's any used at all. Yeah. So what I could do also is to say for a difference. So this is the virtual server editing. So I could split it up. I could say this here goes to the north and this here to the south. I tried that once. So basically this over here and this here was together. It was annoying in the middle and the center, but it's possible to do that. So I don't know who want to achieve that, but yeah, that's the styling of the tab bars, so it's not a big thing. Yeah, I think I showed that now. The tree views, that's a good point to start over and find how I try to achieve to get the server tree view. I call it server tree view. I don't know if it's the proper name, but all this here, how this behaves and styling wise, is a tree view, and I think it's a it's proper. It's a server tree view. Yeah. So that's how it's starting. So I think I needed to use position absolute. And for each item means here every row. Yes, so basically that's how I try to achieve to get all of these images in a size and the branches coming afterwards. So, for instance, sometimes I had to use negative values for the padding, so I left it over here. So if someone needs it, but it's, I put a comment, I commented it out. Yeah. So images, branches empty, repeat again. To make sure that it's proper zero positioning. So I use a stretch so to have that. And to make it really work, I needed to make margin 1 for the top and bottom. And then I have to consider also the margins. So even if I'm starting with a 0 margin for all, I have to alter that. First I reset it with this setting, and then I position it. And the background clip has to be also set to margin. That's the trick what worked for me. Yeah. So, and yeah, it was a little bit tricky to find out how to position the branches. And I tried another approach to make the branches work. Maybe I can show the images. So these are branches that I left over that I wanted to use for, is it open, is it in a sub, and then I decided, oh, it's not really necessary, because I couldn't achieve that. It was too complicated to get all the logic inside it. Yeah. And then I thought, okay, leave it with the just this open and closed, and yeah. Tab menus, the bars. The menu was a little bit tricky to find out because to style a menu is not a good workflow, because it's, whenever you're pressing the magic button to show details of the styling, I'm going to show that now. I press my magic button so I can see the control names and the class and the superclass and the object names. And when you want to open something, you alter the, so, oh, I could find it. Yay, I could find it. So, but whenever I press it, it disappears. So, and that was really annoying. So, and who's interested, don't hesitate to use this style sheet to find selectors, because I tested around a lot, and sometimes I couldn't find a better way. Yes. One thing is about what I talked about. The orientation is meaning here if it's in vertical or horizontal position. And with that you can access the styling for the vertical and horizontal position. That's also a trick. Q toolbar, and with that you can change the behavior for your style. And then you have to consider to do everything. So what means Q toolbar top? So when it's positioned on the top or on the right, that's one thing, and horizontal and vertical. But also you have to fiddle around with the orientation 2 and 1. Yes. Do I have more details? No, I think I talked a lot. Yeah. Something, no, improved toolbar. I'm quite not sure what is anymore. The mute icon, yeah. It was a little bit tricky to find that, the improved toolbar Q label. That's the mute icon. It's not an default control. It's from the TeamSpeak development altered or reassembled control. Yes, a little bit hard to get access. Yeah, here's the chat line I did. That's the check text box. So when you see it has a gradient in between and outside and hovering. So that's why it's so long, and I made a couple of stops for the gradients. One thing about the status bar, it was really hard. You see, there's a gap over here. It's not really possible to resize the icon and reuse it. I couldn't find it a better way, so I left it with the broken border on the top. Yeah, and this is are the panes, and the panes is the main parts. So for instance, on the top altogether is the pane parts, and yeah, with that you're styling that. These are the frames. Yeah, I think that's it. So what I try to achieve is to have like a plugin section, and so I try to also style the plugin soundboard. And yeah, I don't know, it's not the best way, but I started with that and someday I stopped. So I think I'm really at the end, and I showed you all around 3,972 lines of code in one file. I haven't mentioned all the chat line parts and how to achieve that. Yeah, and I think I'm at the end. So it's not like a presentation, it's also a couple of tricks for the stylers. Yeah. Don't hesitate to put something into the comments. I don't need likes, and I don't add me if you... yeah, I don't need that. Yeah, wanted to show just how the style looks like. So have a nice day, have fun with this skin, and goodbye.